Hey guys, my name is Hashim Ahmad and welcome to this exciting hack project tutorial where we'll be exploring the alternative way to matching users with or connecting users with other people using an alternative approach as opposed to the traditional method, which is Tinder's matching algorithm. So let me try to expand on actually what is the problem that we're going after. So whenever we talk about matching people, we often hear the reference towards Tinder because um, whether or not you know what Tinder is, I'm pretty sure you might have heard of it at least. So Tinder is often the most common reference point we have because, or the most popular reference point we have, obviously because of its widespread popularity and its experience and the experience that they have in the market. So the problem with say this now this tutorial is not specifically for dating applications. Now there is a lot of things you can actually do with this project, okay? And I'll tell you what you can do is like this matching stuff. I'll say the problem is now this is one article that I just pulled up, and this article I came across I think about a year ago, and I'm gonna like if you want me to leave a link to this article, I can leave this link in the description. But what will happen is, well, the problem, if you can see this, is if this figure here is that um, the this the goal of the matching application seems to be only working or sort of working only for a very small percentile of people, and the remaining percentile of people are just pushed aside, and they just hope for something to come up. And what we're doing is we're like, listen to me, like for example, matching people based on photos is definitely the most ideal way to match people, like the most successful way and the tested and experimented way to do things. But we're going to be exploring an alternative approach to connecting people, and that is using, in this video I'll be using like connecting people based on facts or memes or anything. And you can actually twist this application to whatever else you want. So like you can connect people based on the mutual likes for YouTube videos, or mutual likes for I don't know, websites for Netflix movies or TV series or whatever it is. Like you can do some crazy stuff with it, so you can match people based on anything. I'm also gonna be coming up with another, like a very similar kind of video, but it will be mostly for investor and founder relationship thing. So that will be a different project and video altogether. So stay subscribed if you want to hear that video as well. So just before I began this video, I'm going to use a tool called bubble.is. And if you guys have not watched my videos before, I don't use any kind of coding, at least to the most extent. I use something called bubble.is and other no-code tools, so you don't need to know any programming knowledge. But however, I will base this tutorial or this project based on the assumption that you have the basics of bubble.is done. If you don't know what bubble.is is and if you don't know how it works, I would highly recommend you to go to the link in the description below and check out my free course on how to get started with Bubble. Okay, so with that out of the way, just go to that course. It's free on Skillshare, and once you get that course out of the way, come back to this video and check it out, because well, there are some things that I just did before starting this video. So if you don't know how to begin with this Bubble, well, what you have to do is go to bubble.is, create a free account or log into your free account, and then click on create a new app. Once you click on this, you'll get this prompt here where we'll say the name of this app. You don't have to type this. You don't have to type in this as well. Just type in any name of the application. I just called it Snapchat, and then I clicked on create a new app. Now, as soon as you click on the application, what will happen is after a small loading, you will see a bunch of random template things. Though you just have to delete all of them, or there will be a button down there which says start from a blank page. Okay, click on that and then close the assistant. You don't really need it. And what I did is, from the blank page, I added a group here, and this is the group there. You can simply add a group here like this, And then what you need to do is you need to add, the first screen is going to be login, because without account we cannot be matching people. Now don't worry if it looks different from what you get. I just simply curved the styles here, so not really very important. I just duplicated this and then I added a button for basically logging in. So that's how I built this interface, and then I just made it a little more presentable. And then I added a new page called, well, sign up, and this is where the user will be signing up. And as you can see here, I will have one place where the user, this is a picture uploader screen here from the palette. Just drag and drop it over here, and we have the picture uploader where the user will upload the photo. uh, I'm not gonna have a different field for first name and the last name. I'm just gonna be lazy and ask for the full name instead. I will also ask for a Snapchat ID, and now these two things are completely optional. So the reward that the user gets for being matched with these two people is that they get the Instagram or the Snapchat ID if they have one. So that's all I'm gonna do, but you can of course build an entire direct messaging system where you probably can take them to a different URL where they can video chat or whatever. But in this case, the reward for being matched is simple as getting the Instagram and Snapchat ID, or probably you can add as many other social networks as you want to. So in my project, it's only going to be these two, and then we're gonna have the email and password, which is mandatory according to Bubble, because these are the means that you're gonna authenticate. Now, of course, you can have other social profiles. You can ask the user to log in with Facebook or Google, but I'm not gonna do that because that's an alternative approach, but you do need to save other information like Snapchat and Instagram ID if you want to reward people. Now this is like the easiest approach. So yeah, now this tutorial is going to be, yes, primarily meant for a dating application, but you do not need to keep this choose gender. In one of my other projects that I'm going to do, I'm going to be doing a project where an investor can look for a founder that he wants to work with, and a founder who is creating an exciting startup, and he's looking for an investor who is doing something along the similar lines to fund his startup idea. So we're going to do that project also in a totally different project. But yeah, let me begin with this. So first, what we're gonna do is we're going to have this basic sign up. We're gonna have a couple of fields that we're gonna save. You may or may not want to save these two on sign up. You can add this later as well, but we can leave this as an optional field. Let's keep the other things as this input should not be empty. Makes it a mandatory field. So without this, the sign up form will not be processed. So we want the gender in looking for as well, because that will basically make us understand, okay, what this user is looking for, so that we can actually cater or approach. Now I did create a page here, but I'm gonna recreate this for you guys. So this is the main thing where the whole application actually happens. Now I did not add the logout button because it's very simple how to do the logout, so I'm not gonna do that here. So the way it works is basically in this thing, okay, like if you want to follow this tutorial, try to replicate what I'm doing, but after that you need to add your own flavor to it, um, because exactly what I'm doing is, like, what I'm gonna do is that the way it will work is there will be questions that the user will be able to choose from, and then add that to his list of facts, okay? And the way it's going to work is that people will not know. It's like a blind date, okay? So there's going to be a list of facts that the users will be able to add about themselves. Now, for example, my favorite pet animal is cat, or probably somebody's going to type in like gold digger? Yeah, I guess. Whatever it is, now they're going to type in their answers, and then they're going to click on add, and that facts will be collected there. And what will happen is the other people, you can also look for, like, it will be like a form. Now, like, for example, this list of facts will be displayed, and it will not say who is this person who likes this cat or whatever it is. So it's just based on a number of facts. Now you don't really have to have it like this. Now you can customize this to whatever. You can also add, instead of choose a question and answer me, you can have something like your favorite movie is, or you can say upload a meme, and then you can collect the number of memes, so you can actually show people a bunch of memes that she has uploaded or he has uploaded, and then you can match. So if you like that, and the other person also likes those memes or those his thoughts or whatever it is, they're gonna match, and then they'll get their Instagram and Snapchat ID so that they can connect with each other. So that's basically the whole application of this project is about. So I'm gonna delete this and I'm gonna start over again so that I do not trouble you. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the logic. So first of all, before I go ahead, I'll click on the data here because this is where I'm going to define the data structure of the application. So let's go to user here. I'm gonna delete all of this so I can tell you what you need to do. So the first thing I'm gonna name is the first name. There's the first name on the user, so it's gonna be type is the text and oh, it's not first name, it's the full name. I was lazy. Anyways, full name, and then the next thing I want to save is the well, you don't need to save about me because anyways, this application is about sharing your facts, so you don't really need to type another about me. Okay. Next thing is of course a profile picture, which will not be displayed at first. Only if they match, they will be able to get that. And of course, Snapchat. Now, one thing to remember is that Snapchat and Instagram actually have their own plugins or sort of add-ons on Bubble. So if you want, I don't know how those things work. I don't want to like spend extra time here, but it could be that users can simply enter the Snapchat ID and Instagram ID and they can connect with each other. That's a lot easier way to do it than sort of doing it plugins. For if you're doing it with plugins, it's a lot easier, I guess, from the user side of things. I'm not really sure about how it works. You can add that special type of reference, but an easier way to do this is add just a simple text that user can just save and type. Okay, so Instagram ID, this ID, and then what else do we want to save? You also want to save their gender, which is the person, whoever it is this gender, and we also want to save in the person he's looking for. Now, of course, these fields would depend on the kind of thing that you're doing. So I guess I've covered all the fields I need. Okay, let's check this out. Let's verify it again. You don't need to type in the password in the email, that's already covered in the username. So the password doesn't show up here. You cannot, even as an administrator, you cannot look for anybody else's password. Okay, so let's go ahead and match the login first. So let's go ahead and log in this person. Email the person's the email's value and the password's value. So remember the email, I normally give it as yes because these days the browsers will ask permissions. So if they don't want to save it, they can change their mind on that. But I think it's better we do that because it's a lot convenient for the user. So when I click on the sign up button here, I don't really have to sign up in this case, so I'm just going to redirect them to a separate page called sign up. It's just because I'm lazy to do it right now. So I'm redirecting them basically to the thing, to the different page to sign up, which is just click on this and then select the page. So that's what I did on the workflow side of things. So let's go to the sign up here and let's define the logic for sign up, which is very similar to that of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some fields, the first name, the gender. Now this is all coming from the database again, so this is I'm going to plug in the value for the database coming from the UI. So these are the values that I need to save on the database, so I'm connecting that here. So Instagram and Snapchat ID, the profile picture, the looking for, and I guess I've covered everything here. So let's go ahead and plug in those values coming from the username. So if you just hover onto this, you can see the which field we're talking about. So full name's value will be the value of the full name on the database. So gender coming from the gender. So what is your gender? So that value will be over there. So that's a drop down actually. You can see the values here. It's male, female, or others, whatever it is. Looking for, now I guess in this case it should be just male, female, and other. So we don't want to do anything else. Instagram ID, well, just take the input.
So this video is brought to you by Zero Code. So if you're looking to build a dynamic website for your business or for yourself, you can hire these wonderful guys at Zero Code who have a lot of experience with developing applications using Bubble, or you can buy one of their premium quality templates. And which will take a lot of time to actually develop. So if you are interested, go check out the link in the description. It also helps this channel. So yeah, let's continue with the tutorial.
You can of course ask the user to log in and do all that stuff, but it's just slightly more complicated, so I'm not going to do that right now. So I'm just going to plug in these values coming from the UI. Alright, so looking for value. So that's it. So I got the login and sign up complete. So one thing is, on this case, the sign in is, if you already have an account, it will go back to the index page, which is the sign in. So that way we got the login and sign up done. Now what we want to do is we want to say after the person has successfully signed up, if you sign in Bubble, it's equal to logging in. So now if the user is logged in, we want to jump him to the actual app page, which is just an app. Okay, so this is where the whole thing will actually take place. So let's go ahead and go back to sign up, and let's go to workflow. If the user has logged in, we want to go to the, well, come on, um, let's go define that again. Go to page. Okay, so there's some weird problem that happens in Bubble time and time again. So let me refresh this page. Um, so here we go. The destination is app, and we don't need to pass anything in this case because it's just one page. So you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, just right click and then copy this, and then go back to sign in or the index page and then paste this again. Okay, and that way we just say that if the user is logged in, go to this app page. Now why did we do that separately instead of going here and do that? Well, I think you're gonna follow my webflow tutorial I'm sorry, the my Skillshare, my course, beginner's course, and you'll understand why I did that. Okay, so that's all sign up and login. So now let's begin with the actual stuff. Now this is going to be a very bare bones implementation, but definitely, guys, if you're making this for actual users, please try to spend some time on the design aspect and the aesthetic side, and make this not just pretty but more user friendly. Now this is going to be primarily meant for desktop, but this is not going to be responsive on mobile. So highly recommend you guys spend some time on making this application a lot prettier and stuff like that. So I'm just going to get the implementation done and then leave the rest of the of whatever you guys can do with you in your hands. So first, I'm going to divide this in a single page. The first part is going to be where the user will be able to add or customize my account or whatever it is. Now, in this case, it's going to be add facts. Okay. Now, the people are going to be connecting by facts. Let me go ahead and make this slightly bigger. So I'm going to make this as heading 1. This is going to be the 2 sites. I do not recommend people putting this in like a dividing the single page into 2, because that makes it not responsive, which means that on mobile it will look really bad. Okay, so highly recommend you guys don't do that, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So the second part is where I'm gonna be browse people. Okay, so this is where the person is going to browse for people and for matches, and this is where he's going to customize his account. Okay, so let's go and add a group, because I often like to put things on a nest and multiple elements inside a group, because it helps, especially when I'm doing responsive design. So one thing is where the user will be able to add his facts. So he's going to be able to type his facts. So I'm going to add an input box, say actually type your answer here. I'll see what I mean. Well, now you can of course ask the user to write his own facts and click on add, but I think the user will feel really blank, like what kind of fact do you want me to add. So let's give them a bunch of let's ask the user to only fill in the answer, and let's give them a couple of clues or kind of choices, like the beginners, like, well, how do I say, a couple of phrases that they can begin the fact with. So I'm just gonna say add, and above this, or probably below this or whatever, I'm gonna add another drop down. Now drop down is not like my favorite way to do it, but it's the quickest way to do it. I'm just gonna just choose a question. Now you cannot leave this empty. And what this will do is this button will be disabled if these two questions are not answered. These two values are not empty. If these two values are empty, then this button will not work. So that's exactly what we want. So this is how you'll add a question. So basically, these questions will be something like, what we call this, my favorite, uh, I actually have a lot of favorite pet animal is. So if you want to add multiple options, you can just click on enter, like press the return key, and then start adding multiple questions. So I'm just gonna give some 3 options. My favorite. Okay, well, my thoughts on politics. Maybe my thoughts on small talks. Maybe one more. My thoughts on philosophical talks. My crush, maybe, but could probably be another thing. Anyway, so these are some options here. And then the user will be choosing this, and then they will type in their answer, and those 2 values will be combined and shown on the thing. So here he'll be able to browse his own facts. So let's go ahead and display his set of facts. That's going to be a list of facts that he has added about himself, questions that he has answered about himself, so that you can add or delete or probably edit them. So the first part is the question itself. I'm going to add a text inside this, and you can see here it replicates how many ever thing that you want to add at the first display. Change the layout style to like extended vertical scrolling, so it will just scroll down. If you say vertical scrolling, only this part will be scrollable. Okay, so this part is going to be the question, which is the thing that's going to come here, and that will be bold, so that I can just like make this bold, maybe like heading 4 maybe. And then I'm going to have the actual answer of the value that he typed in over here in standard body. Okay, so that's pretty much how I think it should be structured. I think it's a much better way now. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add probably an icon here to delete this thing. So I'm just gonna add delete. Oh, trash. There you go. So I'm gonna like remove the styling because it looks really bad, ugly. So this is where the user will be able to delete this question, and nobody will be able to see this. Okay, this is a really like maybe not the most effective way to sort of match people on facts. Even what I'm doing isn't like the most ideal way, because what I would like people to do is to like or sort of express their opinion on the individual facts or opinions about them, and then match people. But that's going to be a long tutorial, so instead I decided, okay, well, if these two if they like this person anonymously, then probably like, of course, like some of the things, some of the attributes of that person you may not like. So it's not necessary that just because you're different in one thing, you will not like that person. In fact, differences are like the fundamental fabric of what makes you valuable in the society. So anyways, now let's proceed to making the actual listing where the users will be able to view all the people that is either matched or about to match, whatever. The first thing I want to do is I want to add a filter here where people can either filter down the people that they have either matched or all the users. Okay, by default, let's change this to all. We only have 2 options, either all or people he have matched. Okay, so this will be filter. So again, so these things are actually not working yet, so these are not fetching any information from the database. We'll do that once we complete this. Okay, we don't need to add any button here, because what we can do is in bubble, every time there is a change in the value, we can trigger that sort of condition. If that condition has been made, then we can actually do something on the workflow editor. So you don't need the button, but you can if you want to. Okay, so the other thing we need is another repeating group. Okay, now make sure this one is also a extended vertical scrolling. Except one thing is that every single row needs to be very kind of spacious. We need a lot of space here, because we're gonna put another repeating group on top of this, and sorry, inside this. So like give it some two space. Now what this means is essentially this number of rows is not fixed because it says extended vertical scrolling. What this means is that in this view, you're only viewing, like for example in this space you'll only view like 2. So for example you say 3, this is the amount of space that will be given for every single row. So it doesn't really matter. You can say 1, so every single cell will have this much of space, which we don't need. We can just take like half of this, okay? So I guess it's perfect. Now let's go ahead and start adding our thing. Now let's go ahead and add the question aspect. So before I start adding the question, you know what, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to add 2 groups here, okay? Inside the repeating group, make sure it's inside the repeating. Now you can't really see anything because that's white in color. You can change this color to something like black so they can see what's happening. So let's extend, like let's change the size of this, make this big. Size center horizontally, center vertically. Again, not needed, but it's a lot better. Okay, so I'm gonna make this like this, and then I'm gonna change the color to something like this. Okay, so that's visible for me when I'm editing. Now this is the part where the user will be able to see the question. So I want to nest my answer, the fact inside this question. Okay, this will not be in a similar way because we're actually going to have two groups like this inside a repeating group. I'll tell you why later. So the first thing is going to be the first screen that the user will be seeing. So instead of like question and answer down there, you can do that if you want to, but I think a better way is okay, you know what, let's do that. No, I don't want to do that. So let's do something like this. Question. Um, if you go to the rich text editor, okay, you can actually bold this like this. You can click on bold and then you can type whatever. Let's unbold this, okay. Now, if you click on save, you'll notice that well, what has been the formatting has been added, which is the square brackets inside this slash means that this will be bold and the remaining thing will be not bold. But because we have added this under the heading style, it's like that. So if I remove the bold, you can see the formatting that has been added. So the question will be in bold, and the answer that the user has will be in the regular formatted text. I think that looks a lot better. If you want, you can change that again. I'm going to change this now back to like transparent. I'm going to add it. I'm going to add a very subtle border. Okay. Now here's where the fact is going to be displayed, and there's going to be a button with the user, or the icon where the user will be able to like, I guess, heart. Yeah. So basically, we will have a button where the user will be. I'm going to remove the background color because it looks ugly. I'm also going to change the color to like red color because the heart is red. I mean, where have you seen a black heart? Okay, so let's go ahead and change it to something like this. So if the button, if the user clicks on this button, it will be like filled inside, and then the person has liked this particular person. Okay, so there's one thing that we're doing wrong. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's something that we're doing very, very wrong. Let's see what we did. So I'm gonna pause this for now. Let me guess. You guys can figure out what we did wrong. The mistake we're doing is the fact that we're supposed to put another repeating group because this is a list. This is basically a list of people. This is a list of facts. The thing that we want to do is that every person will have a list of facts, which means we need to have a another repeating group inside of this. So what I will do is I will select this, and I'll group these elements. Like hold the shift and select both these elements, and group these into a group. Okay? The next thing you want to do is you want to select this group here on any empty portion of the thing, and select collapse this element's height when hidden. Okay? What this will do, you can also animate this if you want to. What this will do is what happens is basically when when this part, this whole group, this question and this like button has to be hidden. And when does it have to be hidden? When this person has been matched. We will hide this group and we will show another group. And I just duplicated this here. And instead of showing, well, like, let me not do that. Let me create another group here. I'll go down here and create another group. I'll probably just copy this group and then paste this outside of the repeating group. Let me paste this over here. Okay. So what I'll do is I will delete this heart button. I will delete this question button. What I will do now is I will probably add the part where I can now display the name of the person, whoever is this person, because this remains a mystery. We will not show this person's name. Okay, so this will be the person's name, name, and that will be in bold. So make this bold, and actually we don't have a lot of space, so let's go ahead and you know what, I think let's put this like this, give some space like this. Let's go ahead and add an image here. Sorry guys. So we got an image there. Let's vertical align those and then put this right there. Now let's add two icons inside these, where one will display the Snapchat. Oh, you know, these are IDs, right? So yeah, okay, anyways, let's add that. Snapchat. Again, not appropriate color, so I'm gonna remove the background. I'm gonna leave that color as it is, because, well, I don't really have the time to search for the brand color and do it, because I don't remember the brand color code. So I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm gonna display his Snapchat ID over here and his Instagram ID over here. Instagram, yeah. So I'm gonna duplicate this, and his Snapchat ID would come here. So Snapchat and oops, his or hers Instagram here. Okay, this is the reward or the thing that ultimately the person will be able to see. Okay, and the thing is, this is what we want to show when the user has been matched. Okay, until then you'll not be able to see that, right? So if you want, we can also show that this person has been matched, and that's why you're seeing this. So if you want, you can add that indicator somewhere. So you can say something like matched. Okay. So this will be a static text. It will remain as it is. If you want, you can add this somewhere over here, probably. And I'll probably change the color to something like bluish color, maybe. Okay. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Alright, so I'll leave it like that. Maybe not the most prettiest design, but it's okay. You know what? Because I already have a group here, I just want to hide this, and I want to take this group here. I'm gonna paste this inside this group. So I know it looks like it looks really terrible, but don't panic, because, well, let's make this pretty in a while. So what I'll do is I'll put this actually outside here, like oh, we can. So I have two groups here. This is what I want to see. You know what? Instead of like this, let's add a background color to both of these so that I can see what's happening. So this group is what the user will be able to see initially. If he likes and the other person likes, they'll be able to see this group. Okay? So I hope you guys understand the logic, right? So we still are yet to be plugging in the dynamic value coming from the database, from the sign-up form onto this place. We're yet to do that. But you know what? Let's go ahead and start, I guess. We need to go to the data here, because first we need to define the two kinds of data we need, or probably one. And that is, well, first of all, we're going to be querying the list of users here. Okay? And the second thing we'll also be searching for is, well, facts. Okay, no. Okay, let's go ahead. There's two ways of doing this. Okay. Now, in this case, both these elements here are the part of it's both of these are text. Now in my case, I can just add them to the user, okay, inside the user itself. But let's say if the thing that you're sharing has two different fields, like for example, if for example you're going to share a project can have a description and an image and probably a link. So there are three different fields, and all of them together will form a single entity called a project. Okay? If that is your case, you need to follow this method. Otherwise, the easier way to do this is by simply adding the field inside this. But I think for those guys, maybe the safer way to do this is to follow what I'm going to do now. Now, of course, this will work this way also, but I do not recommend this because the only reason for that is because, well, maybe in the future you're gonna have some additional features, and then let's say if you want to make changes to just how does a post look or some additional field or something you want to do in the future, to be on the safer side, it's highly recommended that you follow this approach where we create a new type called fact. Now this is maybe not the most direct approach, is we do this like indirectly, but it's like a lot safer than the other way. Okay, so what we want to do is that every fact, okay, will have likes, and basically these are all the people that have no, wait, I think I made a mistake here. uh, no, the first thing I want to save is the fact itself, which is a question. Let's save question separately and answer separately, and let's merge them together. What do you say? So, like, question and the answer. I'm saving this separately, but you can do this together, okay? That's the fact, okay? Let's start by creating the fact, okay? If there's anything we need alongside, then let's go ahead and do that later, okay? Alright, the user is gonna come here. The first thing, let's start with the add button here. So what happens when I click on the add button? I want to create a new fact. Okay. Now you don't have to define who created the fact, because the person who's logged in is creating the fact, right? So that is automatically done for you. So the only thing you need to do is you want to define where the answer's value is, the question's value is. So the answer's value is in that input box, right? And the answer to that question is in the drop down. So that's the answer. So when you do this, the fact has been created. So now it's added on to your fact there. One thing is that every fact needs to be referenced to, like for example, this fact has been okay. Well, fact has been created, but well, who does it like who does it? Whose fact is it about? Well, in this case, we're the only ones, creating the fact. So automatically, you have a type here called creator, and that's the type user. This is the reference sort of thing. So what I'll do is I will display the type of content as facts. I will display all the facts. Okay, first of all, the data sources in this will be able to filter down. So we'll display all the facts, but we'll add a constraint that are created by is equal to the current user. So current user basically refers to the person who logged in. So in this case, we will only display the facts that are created by the current user, who is the person who's logged in. So basically, I'm only querying or viewing the view of facts created by me. So this will display all the facts that I created. But again, I am not displaying that on the UI element. So I'm going to plug in the values of that fact, those fields like the answer and the question, onto the UI element. So let's take the question and then plug the value onto, well, current source of facts question. Well, why did we not go for the input boxes? Because we're not saving it. We're just displaying it coming from the database. Because everything here is a cell. So the question, I'm sorry, actually this is the answer, so I saved it wrongly. So it's current source facts answer. The fun thing is when you click on the delete, now you can of course show a pop-up and say to them, oh, we want to delete this, or yes or no. You can do that as well, but you know what, I'm kind of lazy, so I just say delete this current cell. So that's a lot easier way to do it. So Yeah, that's one thing. Now, you know what? We need to actually, one thing we forgot to do is we still need to add the repeating group. So let's go ahead and create the repeating group here. Oh, did I add the repeating group? No, I didn't. So let me add the repeating group again. I'm going to add a repeating group here. And before I get this ready, let's change this to 1. Okay? And I'm going to change the width to be something like this. And I'm going to increase the height of this. And I'm going to add this over here. Okay? Okay, so what I'm essentially doing is I'm going to display the... Oh, I chose the wrong one. Like, hold on a second, guys. So I'm going to choose this. Or probably I'm going to drag this out here and drop it over here onto the repeating loop. If you want, you can check it out. Probably I cannot see, I'm not sure. But, there's actually one more repeating loop behind. So, yeah, there you go. I have my fact here. So this will display all the facts by one user. So instead of me showing one user now, I will display, well, basically all the users. So I will now make this 1. I will repeat just like this. Now look at this. I have the answer to that person. Okay, this is the person. This is basically the facts that this person created. So I want this to be appearing first. I'm going to delete that, put this inside the repeating group, and probably increase this width here. And then I'm going to put this right over here. Center horizontally, center vertically. And because I want to see what's happening there, I'll add a background style and make this white so I can see. Okay, so this is what I want to see. And let's make this, if you want, you can make this extended vertical scrolling so all the facts of this person will be displayed down there, if that's what you want. But I think a better way to do this is by saying horizontal scrolling, which is he'll be able to scroll this way, because this way vertical scrolling will display all the different users. If you scroll horizontally, this will display all the facts that this user is going to have. I know it's really complicated, but it's a very complicated UI that I'm developing here, but it's really not the best way to do it. But you know what? If it works, it should be great. So yeah, I'm going to be vertically aligning this as well. Now that's a different group. Okay, now let's go to the repeating group. That's the main thing here. So we have one repeating group inside another repeating group, and the repeating group C that you see here will display, well, facts. And I'm going to say do a search for the facts created by the current cells well, I didn't still define it, right? The type of the content is user. Do a search for users, and well, we don't want to display awkwardly. Well, you don't want to display the current user, right? So, not any field. Let's say full name doesn't contain current user's full name. So basically, this is not the best way. What I'm saying is, I don't want to show anybody with my full name. Okay. So for example, my name is Hashim Muhammad. Like, that's a very, probably with 2 words together, probably is a unique name. So already, I think a better way to do this is saying like unique ID is maybe not equal to, I'm not sure, I don't know if I can do that, but okay, I can do that. So yeah, maybe the full name or whatever is like a unique ID or you can generate. So that is to exclude the person who's logged in. So I don't like my own self, right? So I don't want to do that. So I also want to only display the people whom the gender is that he's looking for, which is the information I collected on sign up. Okay, you can of course make an edit page. So you want to say current users looking for. So you want to only display the facts of the people of the gender who's looking for. And also, maybe let's see if there's any other facts you want to do. Um, well, if you want to say something like his Instagram and if a Snapchat feel should not be empty, then you can also do that. But I think that's it for now. Yeah, that's it, I guess. So let's delete this now. So what I'm going to do is now that's ready. Let's go back to this group here. Let's go back to this one here. Say the type of the content. Now this is the Snapchat one, okay? Type of the content is user. Say the type of the thing is, well, look what we did. We did made a big mistake. And okay, let's go back to this one here. Facts, search for facts. This is a repeating group inside the repeating group. So created by is equal to current cells user. So well, because this repeating group is basically displaying the list of users, we're displaying the fact that is coming from the current cells user. So that user is going to be whatever, it's a person here. On this other group, which is going to be the page that he will see once he actually matches, that we want to display when okay, data source is going to be current source user. So this is a group, which means that uh, it's it, it's actually not a part of repeating group unless we define it. So now we defined it. Now let's go ahead and take the value from the current cell. So insert dynamic data. Parent group basically refers to the current cell. So that's full name there. Yeah, the Snapchat, we're gonna plug in the value of the Snapchat ID from the database of this person. Instagram as well. Um, Current user is Instagram ID. So we're displaying these two, but we don't want this to be appearing in the beginning. So I'll say this element is visible on page load, false. Okay. So what I'm also gonna do is over here on the repeating group I have, I want to say search for facts. Um, well, okay, so looks like we have our basic things done. Okay, well, there's one more thing we forgot to do. So we have this repeating group facts, and inside that we have another group here. So let's define the type of the content as fact, and we want to say current source users. Oh no, we're gonna just do a search for fact. Well, created by is equal to current source user. I don't know if if you can see this, but what I'm doing essentially is oh well, there's a bug here. Oh, okay. So let's say we did a mistake here, and that's we're doing a fact search, and this is well nothing. Well then, I made a mistake. Well, what did I do? What is it saying? Ah, okay, that's a different one. Let's go to this one here. This one is the one I was looking for. So, anyways, type of the content is fact. Data source is current sales fact, and I'll just display the question here. This is parent groups facts question, and then the answer over here. Parent groups facts answer. So, well, basically, this will look something like this. My favorite pet animal is cat. I will display over here. So if he likes this, which I think he doesn't like individual facts, he likes the whole person, like the whole person itself. So if he likes that, then well, he likes the whole thing. So let's go ahead and define that. So what I'm going to do is I'm on the data. Let's go ahead and think about what's the ideal way to define this. Okay, well, field name can be likes, and I'm gonna save this inside user. Okay, I say the type is user, and because well, why did I say likes is users? Although typically in social networks we say it's numbers. Is that if we're gonna say it's users, we can extract the number from whoever the whatever is the likes there. Okay, so the number can be extracted from the list of users. So that's why I said it's users and multiple users. So yeah, I'm gonna click on the user. I'm not sure if this is gonna be the perfect way to implement it, but just let's see if this works out. Okay, so when I click on the like, I basically add this person make changes to a thing. Okay, well, the thing we want to change is the current sales facts. Um, Actually, it's inside the fact. We don't want to change the fact. We want to change the user. So I'm going to put this outside the repeating loop. So now this is in the user. So let's go to this. Make changes to a thing. When I click on the hard button, it makes changes to the user. We want to, we want to add the likes to the current user now. Whoever is logged in has liked this person. So that means, so that means this group here, okay, this group, which is where the reward comes in, we said that this page will not be visible on page load, right? So when do we want this to be visible? We want to define the conditions on the condition tab and say, okay, well, when current sales users likes um, contains um, uh, well current user, okay, and current users likes current sales users. I don't know if that's the right way, but let's see if this works. So if this works, then okay, we want to say it's visible, it's true, okay. I guess I'm doing it right, but let's hope it's going to work out. So if I click on this like, let's say this, when the we want to like check a condition that says current sales users likes contains current user, then basically what I'm doing is I'm saying that if the likes like if I like this post, then I want to change the icon to like the other heart, like just like this one, okay. Don't worry about the color, it changes automatically. So this will be viewed when the current user likes me and I like the other person. Let's copy this condition and do the exact opposite, okay? For the repeating group of the fact, we want to say doesn't contain and the current user doesn't contain. Change the contains to doesn't contain and change the visibility to false. Now, it should kind of work, but I won't be surprised if I see any problems. Let's hope there are no problems. Like, well, sorry guys, I just messed the design aspect completely. And there is one bug. Let's see what the bug is also. Don't worry about the design aspect, like that it looks so bad. Actually, it won't in the long term. So let's see what the issue is. Oh, we forgot to display the profile picture of that person. So insert dynamic data, parent groups, users, profile pictures. That will display there. So I hope everything is ready, but let's go ahead and if I like this person, it will show this. And one more thing, if the current sales users likes contains current user or current sales users is the current user. Again, I know it may sound like it's really complicated. What I'm telling here is that, look, if the current user, okay, is the creator of this fact, this collection of facts, because well, we're displaying another repeating group inside this. So if he's a creator, or if I have already liked this post, then well, don't make this clickable. So there's a condition that says this element isn't clickable, so we'll make this isn't clickable. So I cannot like on my own post. I mean, that should be right? So let's go and test this thing out. So I'm gonna create a new account and I'm gonna add a couple of pictures as well. So my name is Ashraf Mohammed, and I'm gonna add some random Snapchat ID here. This is not my Snapchat ID. The Instagram ID is, this one is authentic, this one is the right one, and this one is going to have a random email, which I don't really care. Test 1 2 3. Then I don't know, I'm a male looking for, let's say, female. Sign up. We need to create one more account, I guess, in order to see that. So let's hope everything works well. Let's choose an act. My favorite pet animal is cat. Let's add that. So I have the thing. But I cannot see this on browse people because I told that I cannot look up my own facts. Okay. Let's log out of this because we didn't have a logout button. So let's go create a logout button just because we need to. Let's add it somewhere over here. It doesn't really matter. So let's log out. And we won't allow anybody who isn't logged in to be able to access this page. So I first log him out. So log out the user, and then I add another event. Say when the user is logged out, throw him to the index page, which is the login page. Oops, the index page. So let's go ahead and refresh this page now. We have one fact. Let's add more facts if you want to. So let's add another fact. Small talks is rubbish. I'm sorry, guys. But okay, let's go ahead and log out now. And I will register one more account as a female because that's what I'm looking for, right? So, well, I'm gonna add one more picture, some random picture here. Something, and then I don't know, mail@mail.com. This one. My gender in this case will be female and looking for male, okay? So that's the opposite of what that happened there. Alright, so I can't really see the facts that I just added. Well, why is that? We're doing something wrong. Which is that it's not viewing anything. So let's then say, let's try to remove this current cell is looking for. Let's remove this, and let's check this out for now. Let's view all of them. Oops. Okay, it's viewing it, but it's really confused as to which one to show. I think it's over here. We define that when current cells users doesn't contain the current user and the current likes. Oh, I think we made it get confused. Okay, so we should say when the current cells users likes. You know what? Actually, we messed this thing whole up. We actually should have just copied this condition. We made this visible to true. In this case, we have to make it false, right? So we want to make it false. The current cells. Oh, come on. I can't play with this all day. Say, in current cells, this is not a fact, it's a user. So when current, copy paste that condition here to the repeating group. I'm going to change the visibility to false. Please look at this part here where I'm adding to the group so you can see where exactly I'm adding it. So let's go ahead and check this out again. Okay, so we add my favorite animal is cat here. So let's go. We can also see the other facts here. As you can see here, if I like this person, I don't know if it's making a difference. Oh, am I logged inside as the same person? No, I hope not. So why is it not liking him? It should change actually. Like add the it's not likes add the current user. You have to add the current user. Actually, not current sales user. I made a mistake there. So let's go ahead and make the difference now. Okay, now I can like it. Okay, so let's go ahead and add another question like small talks. Like I don't know, and I'm gonna add this here, and I'm going to log out, and I'm going to like her fact. Okay, let's hope everything's gonna work fine. Email@email.com. Test123 was a password. Yes. Yeah, you don't have to really try this out. So yeah, there you go. If I like her, and look, there you go. I matched with that person, and I can see the Instagram and the Snapchat, and I can do whatever I want. So yeah. So I can also now, I wanted to, what if I wanted to, like, say, if I change the value to matched, I want to only display the value of the people who have matched. So I'm gonna like change the condition. If the drop down filters value contains matched, and make sure this is case sensitive. Okay, so make sure that's correct. I want to change the data source to do a search for users where well, likes contains current user, and well, this is really difficult, right? So you want to say like likes contains current user and uh, well, you know what? I'm gonna think about how to do that actually. Well, um, we'll just remove this for now because I really don't know at the moment. It's not really hitting me how to do that, but yeah, it's definitely possible how to do that. It's pretty easy. It should be easy, but I don't really know how to do that. But apart from that, you know what? I don't know if I really confused you guys, but I hope this is clear. Like, for anybody out there who's coming here for the first time on Bubble, I'm pretty sure he's definitely not watched this whole video in the first place. But if you have, congratulations, you've made it this far. So actually, please be sure to be like super familiar with Bubble, and only then you will be able to follow this. So you can watch this videos as many times as you want to if you have any questions. I have a website created, and this project is actually live on my website called creatorschool.com. And you can actually add your questions and add your creations onto this project page. In the link in the description below is a link to this project in where you can discuss and where you can share your creations. So there are different tabs. We can talk about, okay, well, somebody's created something like this, or if you have an idea that we can probably make another video on, or probably try something else, or you have tried something else, you have made your own variety, just put this on the project page, and probably I can take a look into it, and we can build something for other people as an alternative to the ever famous picture matching. Now, here's something I like to add. Okay. In my case, it was very simple, like text-based matching, right? Um, in your case, it can be videos. Instead of simple text here, like not in this case, but here in the repeating group here. And let me push this on the front. And as you can see here, it's a simple text. But if you wanted to show image, you can also show image. What happens in the solution is the person is completely anonymous. It doesn't know. Now, of course, it doesn't look this pretty. The solution is not pretty. It's definitely not appealing. But if you can figure out a way to make this more presentable, it will be great, right? And the thing is, you can add, instead of, in my case, the fact, if it was, instead of text, if you added image, imagine if you could, like, people could share YouTube videos. Like, I like those videos, so I may, like, I'll probably want to talk to this guy or this girl, right? So I like this post, and if other person likes my post, then well, we're matched. So probably that's a way to connect people, and that's the solution of this whole problem. I hope you guys like the solution, this idea. If you like this, please be sure to hit subscribe, like this video, and if not, like, let's see what we can do more. And like, I'm really curious to know what you guys think. If you have a project idea, please go to the Creator School website and drop your ideas and your creations, and I will definitely answer your questions on Creator School if you have any. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. This is creatorschool.com. Subscribe, and I shall see you guys in another video.